It's all special. We're joined by NXT UK star Zack Gibson back on the show once again. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us. One take.
Yeah. Well, first time for everything, really, isn't it? So, Zack, we've had you back in. We had you on a podcast in July. We thought you'd invite you back in. Seen you back in town. Have a little catch up and have a little chat about the Reds. What are you making of it so far this season?
I don't know how you can ask for much better, to be honest. Obviously, a lot of talk goes on down at the pub, and there's a lot of people still moaning about form and, moaning about Salah's form, moaning about the team maybe not coming together. But when you consider that last season we finished, 25 points behind City, and now we're looking to head into Christmas 2 points behind, it's not really fair to say that they're off form. I don't think I'm chuffed with how they're doing. So
we just come back off the international break and Liverpool's still undefeated in the league. It's looking well going into the Christmas period, Neil.
Yeah, 100%. All we can ask is to be within touching distance of City. I mean, they're obviously, a record-breaking team. They're leading the way, but they won't like the fact we're breathing down their necks either. We're all worried about them, aren't we? Worried about keeping up with them. But at the same time, they'll be looking over their shoulder thinking, we've won all these games and they're right there, right behind us. And I think this now, going into Christmas, I know it's sort of a cliche, but separates the men from the boys, the Christmas period, doesn't it? Now we're going to get a feeling for, are we really in this title race, and big time in Europe as well?
Well, it's fair to say, you look at Man City last year, but they'd already pretty much won the league by this point last season because they were so far ahead. And Neil makes a good point there. Every time they look over the shoulder, there we are, and that must wear them down at some point.
They strolled to the title last year, didn't they? They're so comfortable, never been. I don't know if there's ever been a more comfortable title win.
No, but certainly better than the Arsenal Invincibles, so. I think.
Little dig there.
Yeah, well, Well, there's been some talk of maybe Liverpool not being as fluid as they were last year, but, do you think it's a case, Neil, where we've had to work out a different way to win because teams are now essentially parking the bus, not to quote Mourinho, but we're having to be a little bit more patient?
Yeah, I think so. And even when we're going away from home, we've seen it more and more often, aren't we, that teams are happy to sit back. And one of the things is they know just how good we are at counter-attacking. They know how direct we are. They know exactly how much pace we've got. So sides don't really want to venture too far over the halfway line, which brings with it a different set of challenges. But I feel we've got where we are with the defence playing so well, with the goalkeeper coming and doing such a good job, with Virgil just looking immense, Gomez alongside him. You could go on and on. But it feels like, especially with Salah, that he's just about coming into form now. We're starting to see him for Egypt and for the Reds. I think he's slowly getting back to his best. And once he clicks, he is our talisman. I think the rest of the side will click with him.
Yeah, so Virgil van Dijk, he's an absolute giant. And him and Alisson together, they just look so much more solid now at the back.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better sign. Everyone's been complaining for years. That's always been a reoccurring theme. Every time someone wants to talk to me about Liverpool, they always bang on about how devastating we are on the attack and then how we let it down in the back. And people have been screaming for this for years, and obviously they've listened and they've spent the money, record amounts of money, and actually secure on the back.
And then Trent Alexander-Arnold as a card-carrying scouser, like yourself in your industry. How pleasing is it to see a young scouse lad doing so well? I
say all the time, it's actually, it's one of the things that, especially with my walk of life, where I go down, one of the things I always gravitate to is the people from Liverpool playing in the team. So my childhood hero is Steven Gerrard, because not only is he one of the top guys on the pitch, but he's also from here. So seeing someone like Trent step up and then get all the plaudits that he is getting, that's what I want to see. It's one of my favourites.
Oh yeah, it just means a little bit more, doesn't it? And Trent just seems to get it, doesn't he? He's a great player. He offers so much going forward. His form's been a little bit up and down this season maybe, but people forget how young he is. He was always going to have a little dip at some point. He's still, I think, comfortably, first choice right back. And when he's in full flow, some of his crossing, and then when you've got Andy Robbo on the left.
Do you think it plays against him sometimes, and maybe he's taken for granted? So, for instance, you look at the UEFA Golden Boy Awards, and he's made the final five, and you look at some of the names who are up for that award with him.
Mbappe and players like that.
Yeah. That's an incredible achievement that, put into context. He scored his first international goal as well last week.
Yeah, and sometimes we're a little bit harsher on our own as well. You're a bit harsher on. And you do take him for granted, I think, sometimes. But he's such a talented player, and I still wouldn't be surprised if right back isn't his long-term position, because he's got so much in his locker. And Klopp's tried him in field a few times, hasn't he? He's given him a few run-outs.
I think I'll end up I think he'll end up eventually in midfield because he's got all the tools. Man, to ask, so obviously you travel a lot with your work. Yeah. What's it kind of like following the Reds when you kind of hear there about you could be in a different country some weeks and then. I mean, do you try and watch it live as much as you can?
As much as we can, yeah.
And how hard is it to avoid reading a live score if you don't see it live?
It's just a constant battle of trying to track down Wi-Fi to find live streams and do whatever we can. Obviously, it's a rare occasion now that we actually do just get a day off that coincides because most of the games are played at the weekends, and at the weekends is when we're most busy. But especially now, being with the WWE, they don't stop. The WWE machine does not stop, so neither do we. Just whenever we can, we just find a chance. There's other guys even on the main roster whose schedule's even busier than mine. I didn't know that was possible until I spoke to him, but Big Seamus, he's a Liverpool fan, and he still finds a way just to keep up with it. Just if you want it, you'll find a way.
Yeah. And you talk about being on the road, and you've got someone with you, your trainer, I believe, who keeps you honest. He's Evertonian, I believe.
Yeah, Robbie Brookside's the biggest, most traditional, shall we say, Evertonian you can imagine.
You can say bitter if you want.
Yeah, that's the word I was going for. So when we're training, if, for example, we do a drill called handbag rolls, which separates the boys from the men. You're just doing constant shoulder rolls. You do 50 in a row whilst you go around the ring, and people are getting up and their eyes are all going gozz-eyed. And for some reason, I keep on having to do 70 where everyone else has to do 50. And when we have to practice some sort of takedown or anything like that, for some reason I'm always the test dummy, so I'm looking forward to 2 weeks from now.
I say with the derby coming up, that's only going to intensify, isn't it?
Yeah, I might be sick that day, to be honest.
How many years since they won at Anfield now, is it?
19
and it's 1995 since the...
95 since they won a trophy, 1999 since they won at Anfield. He hasn't got much to celebrate, has he, Robbie, to be fair?
No wonder he's fuming. Anyway, let's talk about the events this weekend as well. You're back home.
Yeah, so we're wrestling in the Liverpool Olympia this Saturday and Sunday. The Saturday is actually sold out at the minute, so as soon as we announced that we were coming to Liverpool, there's a real demand for wrestling, especially at that level with the WWE in Liverpool, so the fans have just flocked to it. They've sold out Saturday, and there's very limited tickets left for Sunday. You can get them at the box office or Live Nation, but anyone that doesn't manage to get a ticket, it'll be on WWE Network.
And the Olympia is a special venue for wrestling. It's kind of one of the venues that's got a real history for wrestling in this country, which is going to add to it as well. I mean, obviously, it's a Grade 2 listed building, I think. It
was the first independent show I actually went to myself.
Oh, right, okay.
I did go to one at Ormskirk Civic Hall, but we don't count that.
On your own doorstep.
Well,
I don't know if we can class that as a wrestling show, to be honest, what I saw that night. But the first actual independent I went to see was Ring of Honor at the Liverpool Olympia. Yeah. And that was when I just started training. That was when I was a fan.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. So I've since wrestled there myself, but I've never, my whole career, 13 years, has been aimed towards getting to wrestle for the WWE. And now I get to wrestle for the WWE in front of my dad and my family and my friends who are going to be there in the crowd.
Yeah, and the fact that with WWE the production levels are something else, it'll look fantastic. As you say, it's going to be sold out, it's going to be absolutely packed. And you've got, the cream of British wrestling who are now in this brilliant position where, since we last spoke, you came in, spoke to us end of July. You've been so busy and so much has happened even since then. You've had TV tapings in Cambridge, in Birmingham, in Plymouth, all geared around filming episodes for NXT UK, which is now every Wednesday night, 8 p.m, prime time, WWE Network. That is the platform that you've dreamt of for years. Yeah,
definitely. It's something that was if you would have told us this 10 years ago, it didn't seem like it could ever be a thing. The WWE, they're the leading brand in sports entertainment, but by a million miles, they're the leading brand. So if you were to tell me when I first started training that there'd be a WWE UK-centric product, easily accessible for anyone that wants to watch it. It sounds like a pipe dream thing. We always assumed we'd have to get good enough to jump ship to the States, and now we're doing it on our doorstep, but it's got a British feel to it. It's got that grittiness that British wrestling has about it. Yeah. It's already becoming one of the ones that everyone's tuning into. The ratings are going sky high, everyone's talking about it, so if people aren't watching it, they need to
get on it. Yeah, definitely. It's unique, isn't it? It's a unique roster. There's talents that people won't be as familiar with, like in America. Yeah. There's a growing women's division as well, and there's so many stars. You won't be the only. We've got an adopted Scouser as well. Obviously, you're the real deal, but Toni Storm, who recently won the Mae Young Classic, she's based in the Wirral. She's originally from Australia, but lives over here now. So for her, I imagine it'd be exciting to be part of the shows as well.
And Zaya Brookside.
Yeah, and of course, Robbie Brookside's daughter. Is she a Blue as well?
She is a Blue. We can just cut that out.
Oh.
Just edit that out, the final take.
But I mean, as you say, it's special, but it's more. It's the fact that you're showcasing what all of you can do on this, to a massive audience. And the first shows I saw, you got a sort of typically hostile reception down in Cambridge, didn't you?
They don't like me very much. I have a lot of away games and not many home fixtures. That's why it's so good to be back in Liverpool for once. But they were giving us stick. I actually saw WWE put up a clip on their Twitter, just a short snippet of it, and I'm stood in the ring. I think it was one of the ones was after a match I just had. It was a 3-minute match. And I was talking on the microphone and everyone's giving stick, and so they picked that up and put it out there for everyone to see. And I was reading all the Americans' comments on it, talking about how thick the baby oil was on me and stuff like that. That was just sweat.
Wild.
I was just sweat.
Absolutely.
I didn't realise we were going to go there in this chat.
I don't wear any baby oil. That was unadulterated sweat. They're drowning me out, and I'm having to shout over them at the top of my lungs. I didn't even know if the microphone was working. And I've since had WWE producers come to me and say that I set the new record for how much they had to struggle with the audio on the tapes.
But I mean, that's perfect. That provoking that reaction is what it's all about. And I mean, an even bigger stage for you. You got to fly out to America, and you were part of the NXT Takeover Brooklyn over SummerSlam weekend. So there's this huge show. What, 20,000 people in the?
It was, I think the official figure was around 16,000.
Right,
but I do know it's the biggest draw that the NXT brand had ever seen, and. So this is the culmination of years of hard work from that roster. And we were invited to go over because we were actually over there with Progress Wrestling. Yeah. So we'd already done 3 weeks going from all the different cities, flying all around the States. And we did a bit of training at the Performance Centre.
Right, okay.
And then we were invited to do that match as part of the NXT special. It was taped for an episode of NXT.
Yeah. So you wrestled Pete Dunne, the UK champion.
Yeah.
Who obviously you wrestled in the championship finals.
Currently the face of the brand, something I do intend on changing. But still, he's one of the best we've ever produced. He's one of the best anywhere in the world right now. You just look at his body of work that he's created in the last couple of months. Pete's unreal. So to actually get put on that platform, but then also get put in with one of the best that there is, it was always going to be great. And then just it was basically the response to it's been incredible. And talking to the WWE, like I say, it's the biggest thing that there is in wrestling. So backstage are all the biggest names in wrestling. Like, imagine some footballer coming straight back from his game and getting to talk to Kenny Dalglish is the first name that he sees as he walks back, and that's us. We're walking by, and then there's Terry Taylor, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Pat Patterson. All of these guys are there.
Yeah. Just all these legends of the business that you can draw on for advice and tips and ask them for feedback.
Telling us that we did a good job, so that's... I could have quit. I could have retired on the spot.
And I saw, it was the culmination, wasn't it, of just hours and hours of travel, of planes, trains, automobiles. I saw a cool sort of video diary that you did set to, was it like BoJack?
Oh, BoJack Horseman.
You've got to check it out. It's a great little sort of video package, just showing all the miles you travelled, and then boom, there you are in New York.
So just bring it back home, big show, all the miles, and then you're finally back home. So go back to what we were saying before. You're going to manage to see the game on Saturday before the show, or
I'm there all day.
I'm there all day.
It pains me to say it, but
it'd be hard to keep that result quiet then.
I'll be fine that I got a little quiet corner somewhere to watch it. But we have to go down. Get like WWE it's a massive production, and on top of that, it's a professional sports company. We have to get drug tested. We have to get medical clearance. So. It's a long, hard weekend that we do, but we'll be there first thing in the morning, making sure that everyone's healthy and stuff like that. So I can't escape, unfortunately.
Before we wrap up, score prediction for Saturday?
I'm going to say we're going to win, obviously. I'm looking for this to be, after the international break, a little bit more time to think, a little bit more time to clear stuff out. I'm looking for us to get back on track. I don't think we're going to sneak a little 1-0 or anything like that. I reckon we're going to smash
the PSG next week?
That's going to be close again, I reckon.
So
I'm looking for us, because obviously we got the points that are desperately needed in that tournament, but I can see the PSG match being a lot closer, maybe even like a 1-0, something real tight. But at the weekend, I'm looking for a 4-5-0 job.
I'll take that. So that's been a little tour special there. We're joined by a future WWE champion, a former Banders Filth champion, and the current Banders Filth champion.
Outrageous.
Nice one.
And don't forget, if you want to watch WWE NXT UK, you've got to tune in 8 p.m. Wednesdays on the WWE Network, and I'm seething inside now.
Nice one.